एकदम ठीक है? सब आ रहा है? नमस्ते। मेरे कैमरे से करना नहीं था ना, फिर उनका फोन आएगा, कैसे करेंगे? मेरे कैमरा इस्तेमाल नहीं करना था क्योंकि उनका फोन आएगा, मैसेज कैसे करेंगे?
14 लोग देख रहे हैं। 14 लोग देख रहे हैं।
वो तो कर लेंगे।
परफेक्ट है, स्टार्ट करो आप।
Namaste. I am Dr. Nitin Agarwal. I am the National Secretary for Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad. I welcome today all our Jigyasa members, delegates, Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad members, all our Ayurveda students, practitioners, and other interested people who want to listen to these knowledge programs organized by Jigyasa, which is our student body working with Ayurveda students primarily in southern part of India, but also has presence all over the country. Today I am going to speak about a very special subject. It is kind of a motivational subject specifically for our students, for budding Vaidyas, as well as for private practitioners who wants to maybe make some variations or create some alternatives in their current practice. Even for teachers who are teaching Ayurveda in various colleges to take a certain line. So the topic is entrepreneurship and startup opportunities in Ayurveda. Yes, it is a very special subject in many ways. Not much of us hear about it while we are in our Ayurveda school or medical schools, because we think that this subject is primarily for IIT graduates, for Harvard graduates, or some big universities, not for Ayurveda colleges. But I as a Vaidya, I as an Ayurveda practitioner, I think differently, and I encourage my fraternity to also think differently. And to some extent, this is also my own personal experience, entrepreneurship, because when I graduated from Rishikul State Ayurveda College, Haridwar, at that time, for me also, it was like a crossroad where I was standing and thinking, what is next? So what we should do? Private practice, open up a clinic and do some practice, whether apply for a government job, whether apply for like a teaching job in an Ayurveda school or a medical school, or do something else. What? So when all these thoughts comes to every graduate's mind when they pass out from the university or when they are in the initial stages of their practice. So what is next? So here I will put some insight of what we can do, how we can create entrepreneurs in Ayurveda. Because if we are able to do that, then definitely Ayurveda and Ayurveda graduates can also become very successful as our other counterparts in different streams, in different fields of medicine, engineering, management, whatever. So let's think out of the box and treat this path of innovation, of discoveries, of creating something new in Ayurveda. So what is that path? So what exactly is entrepreneurship?
This path.
Entrepreneurship basically arises from innovative tendencies, which means innovation comes from proper knowledge and risk-taking abilities. Means we need to develop innovative tendencies in ourselves as a Vaidya. We need to think different as a Vaidya, as an Ayurveda graduate. We need definitely proper knowledge of our subject. And of course, we need to have the strength and the confidence to take risk, calculated risk. I'm not saying that we risk our lives. I'm not saying that we should risk our livelihoods, but calculated risk-taking capabilities. We all know that. We all have heard about Google, Facebook, Microsoft. We have heard about Oyo rooms. So what are they? What we know now that they are some of the largest companies of the world. You know what? Where these companies were created? These companies were created in the dormitories of the universities, in the hostels, in the boys' hostels of the universities, created by some of the world famous innovators. They were students like you and us at some point of time. They were no different. They were also science graduates, as most Vaidyas are. They also learned physics, chemistry, biology, probably mathematics, economics, whatever, but they had the same intellect. But what was different? The difference was that they had this innovative tendencies in themselves, and they had the proper knowledge of their subject, and they have this risk-taking abilities in themselves. They were thinking out of the box. So all these companies, one of the largest in the world, were created as part of entrepreneurship, which is somehow lacking in Ayurveda. So we need to work on that as Ayurveda graduates, because most Ayurveda graduates, fresh scholars, PG scholars, what is the tendency for them? They come out of the college and the first thing they look is jobs. Let's get a government job. If there is a government vacancy of a medical officer, you will find a huge queue of students, practicing graduates, even sometimes practicing for 10 years, 15 years down the line, still applying for a government job. But then it's no innovation, it's no entrepreneurship. You may apply for a job in a medical school, in an Ayurveda college, in a university. Yes, there could be some possibility of entrepreneurship, there could be some possibility of innovation there, but not much. So Ayurveda graduates and PG scholars definitely need to think different. What we see in today's world is that, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship or business, that there is a gap between Ayurveda knowledge and business community, which means that if you are a good Ayurveda doctor, you probably do not have good knowledge of business. And if someone is a good businessman, they don't have knowledge of Ayurveda. So how we combine together, how we create enterprises, how we create entrepreneurships. So that gap needs to be filled by Ayurveda graduates. I think this is the key, what is required in today's world. So as we see, what can be done? Out of box thinking means that yes, I have good knowledge of Ayurveda. I have some basic information, what can be done. But then as a graduate, I should open up my mind and start thinking about all possibilities that can be created in the field of Ayurveda. All possibilities. So what are those possibilities? Yes, what we can do, we can create a whole industry around Ayurveda, as yoga has done, a complete industry around yoga. We know this, that how big the yoga industry is. Otherwise, yoga trainers, yoga graduates should think, okay, they will do some teaching, they will go to houses, they will go to an institute and do some yoga training. That's it. They will of course make some bucks, but nothing comes more out of that. But what happened in USA, in Europe, they created an enterprises from out of yoga. And in US alone, in 2012, the whole industry of yoga and the sales of its accessories was 6.9 billion US dollars, which increased to 11.5 billion dollars in 2020. That's a projection for 2020. 11.5 billion US dollars is the industry of yoga and its accessories in United States of America. Where does it come from? It does not come from US. It comes from India. Its origin is in the Vedas. Same is with Ayurveda. And that is why there's a lot that can be created around Ayurveda as well. And in today's environment, with COVID-19, with coronavirus all over, you can see there is a big buzzword now coming with Ayurveda. It was there before as well, but now I think the world is waiting for us to take a lead, how we can take a leading path, not only in research and development of medicines, of supplements that can help prevent this deadly virus, but also help treat the disease and also even the complications if they arise. But it is incumbent on us as Ayurveda graduates to take this lead, to take this challenge and work on it. Nobody else is going to come here. Yes, we need government support. We may need some scientific support. We may need support of allopathic doctors so that we can have controlled clinical trials. As our Honorable Prime Minister also said, that we need evidence-based research which comes from controlled clinical trials. So yes, government and our Ayush ministry is very much open now to support that. But I would say that private practitioners, Ayurveda graduates, Ayurveda teachers in universities and the bureaucracy of Ayurveda, they should all join hands together to do controlled research, evidence-based research in this field, because this will make us very popular all over the world. But even before the coronavirus pandemic episode, the buzzword was enhancing in the whole world. The World Health Organization has projected the global herbal market will grow to 5 trillion US dollars from the current level of $62 billion from 2020 into 2050. In 30 years, it's going to 8 times $5 trillion by 2050. Where is Ayurveda in it? That is a very important thought. It is a global herbal market. But what is the size of Ayurveda in it? It is disappointing. Right now, in current situation, Ayurveda, even though with its full potential, even with its 5,000-year-old history, proven history, it is just 2% of the herbal products sold worldwide, including India. And the classical Ayurveda medicines are less than 1% of this $62 billion market that is there all over the world. So we are very little. What are the reasons? Why are we so back, so little in this whole huge possibilities? Because in my opinion, lack of entrepreneurship, lack of out-of-box thinking, lack of innovation in all the fields. But things should change now. Yes, I see things are also changing now. And here comes the whole story, that what are the possibilities for a regular Ayurveda graduate who comes out after completing their BA MS degree, who passes out of a university after completing their MD or MS. What is there when they are standing on this crossroad? What are the possibilities for them, so that we are able to get a sizable chunk of this market? What else is required? So the two most important things are required to become an entrepreneur, to meet towards. First thing, as I mentioned, innovation, innovative tendencies. Second thing is risk-taking abilities. But there is also a third aspect. And what is that? Communication abilities. Our ability to communicate our knowledge in the language that people want to listen. Means the audience that we are catering to, we need to speak in their language. If we are speaking in the language of a common Indian citizen, we need to speak in the language what they want to hear, what they want, what exactly they want from Ayurveda. If we are talking to an international audience, we need to speak their language, what they want to listen, without making any overclaims, without making too much of self-praises. If we talk facts, if we talk rationale, with the pure knowledge of Ayurveda, shared, presented in such a way that is understandable to our audience, people are willing to listen. They will receive it. They will apply it in their day-to-day lives. But if we start talking to them, what we call in Hindi, in a cliched language, or in a very, very bookish, subjective language, then the thread of communication is weakened or broken even. There will be a gap. And when there is a gap of communication, then we cannot succeed at all. So it is very important that we are able to share our knowledge, communicate our knowledge in a proper language that the whole world is willing to listen. For that, we need to have also a command on the language. Whatever language we communicate, it is Hindi, it is English, it is any Indian language, but if we are catering to an international audience and we want to make it big, then of course we need to communicate in English. And I always say to most Ayurveda graduates that we should at least learn 2 additional foreign languages. One is English and other could be either of Spanish, German, Russian, French, or wherever we want to create our enterprise. We need to learn those languages, because if we are able to communicate in the language of our audience, then it makes things much easier and communicable. What else can be done? These are the 3 or 4 basic principles that I already mentioned for developing the entrepreneurship abilities. But now let's talk about what are the possibilities or actual fields that an Ayurveda graduate or a regular Ayurveda graduate can think of working as of now. Of course, as I say, innovative tendencies are infinite. People can think anything and can create anything from that, which even I might not know now, or I might have not thought through it. So it is infinite field. But what are some of the basic fields that are still a lot needs to be done in those fields other than private practice and teaching jobs? So what are those? One is medical tourism. Now, medical tourism is a very broad term. I believe a lot of our Jigyasa graduates comes from Kerala, coastal Karnataka, Maharashtra, And there is a lot of this Ayurveda medical tourism. Yes, it needs to be done in such a way that the quality should not be compromised, that we are able to mix the pure knowledge of Ayurveda together with the knowledge of hospitality services, where we mix them together so that all this hospitality, which is right now taken over by spa clinics, should come back to a Panchkarma clinic, which means we should have a Panchkarma clinic or open a health village or even if a health resort or an Ayurveda resort, which should be a combination of Ayurveda in a very pure practical form with no compromise in knowledge, but together with that aspect needs to be taken, hospitality should be taken care of, that where the comforts, the benefits of our patients, of our clients, of our customers, whatever you want to name them, should also be taken care equally as treatments. For Vaidyas, this should also be important, that okay, some Vaidyas may think I am responsible for the treatment, and some other manager will look for the hospitality part, for the diet part, for cooking, for their comforts in their rooms. No, I think the Vaidya in charge of the clinic should take responsibility of all aspects of their patients that are staying in their clinic, or if they are coming for treatment of any kind to their clinic. And that is why it is important that hospitality should be combined together with the knowledge of Ayurveda. And here a lot needs to be done. Otherwise, what happens, that a lot of people, they come to India for Panchkarma treatments, for Ayurveda treatments, and the general buzz is, when I travel to so many countries, what they say, that treatments were good, they were wonderful, but the clinic facility was like, okay. So only very hardcore loyalists of Ayurveda, or people who really are sick and they have really want to come for treatments, they only come to India second time or the third time. But others, they said, okay, everything is very good, but I better go to Egypt, I better go to the beaches of Spain, and maybe there I'll get some spa treatment instead of coming to India for an Ayurveda treatment, because of lack of hospitality and lack of cleanliness sometimes in our clinics. So even though we gave them one of the best treatments, but because of that aspect, or because of this lack of coordination, we were not able to create an enterprise out of it. So that is one important point that needs to be taken by us as an entrepreneur in the path of entrepreneurship. Nutrition. Second thing, Ayurveda dietitian, Ayurveda nutrition. This is a large field. And you know what? It is a subject which is woven in Ayurveda. I don't think there is any Vaidya who can complete a consultation without talking about food and diet. But what happens, that it has become very generalized and very complicated, which is most of the time not understandable by our customers or by our patients, or it is too tedious for them to accept or to follow. So when the Vaidya tell them about it, they say, yeah, it's very good, please give us this paper, you give us Vata pacifying diet, Pitta diet, blah blah blah, but then after that everything goes in their shelves and nothing is followed at home, or probably for a week, 10 days, and after that people think it's enough. On the other hand, what we see, that some of the top nutritionists of India, and I will name 3 of them, they derived their basic knowledge from Ayurveda text and created a whole enterprise out of it. We know about Dr. Shikha Sharma. She's an allopathic doctor turned nutritionist. She created a huge nutritional call center, personalized nutrition. Is a whole industry was created out of that, and she has a big name now. I met her a few times in some of the conferences in CIA and all that, and she herself in her speech said that I derived the basics from Ayurveda text, from Ayurveda. But Ayurveda graduates are not able to do it. So this is, of course, a food for thought for us Ayurveda graduates. Mrs. Rujuta Divakar, a Mumbai-based nutritionist. She is working in Asian Institute of Gastroenterologists, and she gave this theory: do not count calories in your food, count the prana. That means the vital energy. Where is prana comes from? Whose text talk about prana? No allopathic medicine talk about prana. It's the Ayurvedic medicine talks about prana in food. But now she is promoting that. Very good. We should thank her for that. But this is the basic knowledge of Ayurveda, which needs to be communicated to our patients, to our clients, to our customers in a very simplified knowledge. As I mentioned before, in the third basic principle, which means communication in the language which is understandable to our audience, not in the language what we understand. Third name is Ishi Khosla. She started her career in a Scots Heart Institute and then developed this concept of whole food. Whole food concept is an Ayurveda concept. It is what we basically tell to eat. हम लोग कभी मैदा खाने को नहीं बोलते हैं. We always talk about if we have to eat wheat, it has to be whole wheat. We never say like cooked vegetables, but not like vegetables mixed with hundreds of spices and make it like a bharta of it. So all this concept of whole food was mentioned in Ayurveda text, but we somehow were not able to communicate in a way that it should have been communicated. So Ayurveda nutrition or diet, Ayurveda cooking, all these are aspects where Vaidyas should take the lead and of course create it as an enterprise or create an entrepreneurship out of it. Sports medicine, third very important subject, and I think it is required all over the world now. All over the world it is required. A lot of sports personalities, and we all know how much money it has behind it. We all know that, how much huge business it has around it. Some of the biggest football teams, the cricket teams, lawn tennis players, they all take sports medicine. They all do sports medicine regularly from time to time. As we know, because of lot of doping controls, they have strong limitations taking chemical medicines or some foods that are not considered or part of the prohibited list in the international doping laws. Ayurveda can take a lead here. A lot of Ayurveda herbs can be easily used as part of supplements or as part of healthy food, which can create a sports medicine or a sports herbal supplement categories or a range of supplements which can cater to a huge number of sports personalities all over the world. And there are some prominent people who took the clue from Ayurveda text to create some of the big enterprise around sports. One of them is like Ryan Fernando, Qua Nutrition, one of the famous sports medicine expert, using traditional herbs to do that. We have heard about TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, very prominently used by Chinese athletes and players, and we know now that how Chinese athletes dominate the whole scenario, whether it is Olympics or Asian Games or other sports competitions. one doctor from Austria, Dr. Wolfgang Schackinger, he also used sports medicine using for world's best football clubs even in Austria, like Bayern Munich, using Ayurveda herbs and massage therapy, and even one of the Sahkarma of Panchkarma, Patra Potli. They do that, Podikizi, what we call in Kerala, or Patra Potli in North India. These are the techniques that were used by a lot of people in Europe now as part of sports medicine, where they are treating the players to strengthen their overall physiology, especially their bones, their muscles, as part of sports medicine. I can see a lot of experts in US, in Europe, who took a clue from Ayurvedic texts and from some Vaidyas and started this concept in different ways, what we call sports medicine. So this is another field for Ayurveda graduates to venture for, where they can think through it and understand this whole subject of sports medicine and combine it together with Ayurvedic knowledge and create an enterprise or an entrepreneurship out of it. Creating softwares, creating apps, creating different software modules with this knowledge of Ayurveda. Now, a lot of us, we Ayurveda graduates, when we talk about diagnostics, so we talk about pathology labs, radiological examinations, different aspects of diagnostic tools. Now, I don't consider them allopathic. I consider them modern, technological, innovative diagnostic tools. They were not necessarily or always created by allopathic doctors. They could be created by doctors sitting together with scientists, physicists, and pathologists together working and creating something innovative, some tool, some mechanism which can help diagnose diseases, which can help diagnose or see through our body. Ayurveda doctors also have the possibility to do that. We can create a lot of softwares, lot of apps, lot of diagnostic apps which can help ease up things and can be made available to all the Ayurveda graduates or people who are practicing Ayurveda. Even when we are talking about a lot of Western doctors, lot of doctors in South America, in Australia, Russia, all these countries, if we want them also to learn Ayurveda, to practice Ayurveda, or to at least apply the principles of Ayurveda or use Ayurveda medicines, then how can we train them? Because they were not trained in Ayurveda school. They were trained in their own regular universities. But if we want a global reach, if we want an approach towards that, we need to communicate with them and we need to work with them to do a lot of education with them and create some of these diagnostic tools that can be created. In India also, I think some of them, they have started with pulse diagnostic tools. Even in today's time, the government of Uttar Pradesh, they created this Ayush Kavach. It is all over India now. I think in several state governments are using. These are all apps that are basically being used to create an information pool of patients, of different aspects of doctors who can all work together to create an information highway around Ayurveda or around Ayush. Same way, we can take a lot of clues from that and create some tools regarding all the information of Ayurveda, which can definitely be used by any Ayurveda graduate or a practitioner with a click of a button. I can quote the example of Dr. Oleg Sorokin from University of Novosibirsk, Russia. He is a good friend of mine, working with us or with me for several years now, and we are also collaborating together with him in research in Russia with our Bliss Ayurveda products there as well. As you all know that I am also the managing director for Bliss Ayurveda, which I created with my entrepreneurship skills. He created this Veda Pulse diagnostic tools and software which help in diagnosing with pulse reading. Yes, there could be a lot of improvements required, there could be a lot of variations required, but all the intelligent Vaidyas, they can sit, they can suggest, things can be added, innovations, changes, they can be done into improvements, improvisation, what we call, can always be done. There's always a possibility, and after that, gradually, we can develop a very closely instrument which is very close to the exact pulse diagnostic or pulse reading. But at least somebody is thinking on those lines, and people have started thinking in those lines and working on it. He developed also a concept of Veda genetics, where we talk about Prakriti Pariksha. This is another tool which Vaidyas should have. OPD or a clinic, Prakriti Pariksha clinic. Lot of people who do not have just health issues, but they want to know their Prakriti, they want to know their pulse so that they are able to take care of their health all through their life as preventive and preservative values of their youth. They can come to these clinics. So it is again, you can create a whole software, you can create a whole enterprise out of it, or you can also be part of your clinic which you are already doing. So something different is there. I am sitting in a small town maybe, but I want to do something different because maybe I have a limited clientele, but I want to enhance my clientele. All these things can be added to that. Nutrition, Prakriti Pariksha, Ahar Vihar, sports nutrition, sports medicine, Veda genetics, wellness trainers, Ayurveda physiotherapist. Yes, all these things can be included as part of our larger program of our clinic. And we are able to do that. We can open a multi-specialty clinic. We can, even in our clinic, we can create a lot of multi-specialty streams which can easily be provide easy access to our clients, to our patients, and we can have a lot more patients can be catered to that. Education, sharing of the knowledge, communication of the knowledge. This is again very important aspect for Ayurveda graduates and could be for any startup. It is a very basic. Now we all want to create a big success startup for our company, for our clinic. But how we do that? So we need, most people do not know about Ayurveda. Even if they have heard about Ayurveda, some of them maybe have used some Ayurveda products or medicines at some point of time, but they are not regularly doing it. The reason is there is very little knowledge inseminated or transferred from the Vaidyas to the general public. Very little. People who are doctors, who are therapists, who are herbalists, who are chiropractors, they want to do or adopt Ayurveda as alternate practice in their systems, but they do not have knowledge. For example, if I want to create something in Germany, if I want to create something in Russia or in US, how will I do it? Okay, I have created my product line, but how I am going to sell my products there? How is it possible to do unless I am able to communicate the knowledge of each and aspects of Ayurveda in the language that they understand? So for us, we need to create the pool of knowledge. How we do that? All the time traveling, going to these countries is very expensive. So use of technology through webinars, through different aspects of courses, online courses, practical aspects of courses needs to be done regularly by Ayurveda graduates. And I believe a lot of fresh Ayurveda graduates can start working on that. But there is a caution. The quality should not be compromised. One should not compromise the knowledge of Ayurveda just for easy access or to people. Because yes, in the beginning, there you may get some little success, you may get some patients out of it, or some clients out of it, or some students out of it who want to learn from you. But if the knowledge which is transferred to them is not correct, if not of good quality, it will backfire, and backfire on the whole Ayurveda fraternity. Because then people will definitely, whoever is learning this knowledge, will think through it, will use their innovative mind, and if they found a flaw, then they will of course come back to us with a strong message that no, this is not correct. So it is very important that whenever we are communicating this knowledge, it needs to be done in a very proper, qualitative way. Ayurveda products. This is another aspect that needs to be taken care of. So, what is that aspect of Ayurveda products? Opening a pharmacy or a manufacturing unit is a very easy thing in our country. That's not a problem at all. Any Ayurveda graduate can open a factory or an industry and can create products. But we have to think through it, that even though we have more than 10,000 Ayurveda companies or pharmacies in India, why is still Ayurveda is in a back seat? And the reason is that a lot of people, especially who have their pharmacies, do not have good knowledge of Ayurveda. A. B. They compromised the quality of the products because of quick money. C. Just to satisfy the requirements or to make them very cheap for our customers, just to make them accessible in a competitive mindset, we compromised the quality of herbs and the potency of herbs that are used in Ayurveda products, which has backfired on all of us as a fraternity of Ayurveda. Because what has happened? There is a huge community, especially among doctors, among allopathic doctors, who says or caution their patients, do not take Ayurveda medicines because they are not good quality, because they are full of heavy metals, because they destroy your kidney, damage your liver. And these are the very common phrases that a normal patient who does not know much about Ayurveda listen from the doctors of large hospitals. Yes, there is an ignorance, there is a bias there, but there is always a certain element of truth also. And we as Ayurveda fraternity should take responsibility to remove this ignorance, to remove this bias. Because if we are able to prepare qualitative products, herbs in its purest form, in customer-friendly form, which can easily be taken by our patients, by our customers, then this whole facade that has been created around Ayurveda, or this negativity that has been created around Ayurveda, will gradually be removed. I travel to Europe and America a lot, and I have personally myself faced this problem, that when I go there, I was once in Germany and there was a big article in one of the major national dailies which says, beware of Ayurveda medicines because they contain lead and mercury. Yes, for us, even though all our products, Bliss Ayurveda products, were very well tested before we export them for heavy metals, for pesticides, for microbiological contamination, but wherever I went all over Europe, I was flooded with these questions of quality control by our patients, by the doctors who were recommending our products. And they say, this is the article which came, please can you speak about it? Can you explain about it? My whole trip of 3-4 weeks was spent on explaining and creating defense towards Ayurveda. It's such a wastage of information with no fault of mine or no fault of our company. But the whole Ayurveda fraternity suffers because of that aspect. Because some of our brothers or sisters of Ayurveda, they created a mistake, either because of easy money or because of lack of proper knowledge. They committed a mistake which of course brought bad name to the whole fraternity. And that is why this is again very important principle when we are creating enterprises or entrepreneurship. We need to have qualitative products, and we have to be extra conscious about the qualitative aspect of the products or Ayurveda medicines. I'm using the product word because it could be Ayurveda medicine, it could be herbal food supplement, and it could be food that could be created around Ayurveda or using Ayurveda herbs. Even the kashayas, what we call the kadhas, they all needs to be made very qualitatively in a friendly or customer friendly, user friendly way, so that they can be provided to the masses, and the information needs to be communicated to them. It is not just that I am a Vaidya, believe in me and just take the herbs what I am giving you. No, the Vaidya should tell them that this is containing these herbs. These are the benefits of these herbs. Read about them, understand about them, so that the confidence of our patients also is enhanced. And when they take the medicines with confidence, with full information, then it has much better effect on them. And then they will become your word of mouth propagators. They will become your independent marketing agents, because they are going to speak about you to 20, 30 people, and their views will be considered as independent views. And then we create a very positive atmosphere for the whole Ayurvedic fraternity. So it is very important, friends, that we take care of all these aspects of innovation while as an Ayurveda graduates or practicing Ayurveda. And as in the beginning, as I mentioned about Panchkarma clinics, we need to use more and more technology together with the ancient knowledge of our text. We should combine together, include hospitality into that, so that we can create an enterprise out of it as well. And in the end, I would say there are so many aspects of these things happening. Some of the examples that we have, like telemedicine, for example, Jiva Ayurveda, we can create an enterprise out of it, and of course can give jobs to hundreds of Ayurveda graduates into that. Online consultation apps, modules that can be created. Ayurveda retreats, Ayurveda and yoga retreats can be combined together, can be created. Retreats are basically can be created not only for people to come and just learn Ayurveda, but also it is part of development of human index and a better relationship between an Ayurveda doctor and our students or attendees of the retreat. Because once they attend these retreats, they become one of the foremost brand ambassadors of our knowledge all over the world. And all these people, when they go back to their cities, to their towns, to their countries, or wherever they belong, then they talk about these positive aspects of those retreats. We can talk a lot about culture, we can talk a lot about all the aspects of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, as we all say, is not just a system of medicine. It is the science of life. It is the science of life and longevity. And if we are able to create a buzz with that aspect, I think we can create again an enterprise around it. So friends, just to conclude my today's presentation about entrepreneurship and startup. There's a lot to speak about, very detailed, but I think this is how we should gradually create. As anything that is being created from the basics of the knowledge, think out of box and then create something out of it. I myself also was a regular Ayurveda graduate, as I mentioned before, standing on a crossroad when I graduated of the college and thinking what to do. But this whole out of box thinking helped us create this concept of Bliss Ayurveda, where we are now exporting to 25-30 countries all over the world. We are one of the few companies who are able to register Ayurveda products in European Union and cleared by US FDA. We are also a Panchkarma clinic in Delhi NCR in Greater Noida, where we are able to combine hospitality together with the knowledge of Ayurveda and Panchkarma and Yoga. So if we are able to create something, then this is how you develop innovative skills, innovative tendencies, and creates entrepreneurship skills. And I believe our new generation, our young graduates, they will be a lot more innovative than us. They will be a lot more creative than us. And with this abilities, if we start thinking on those lines, there is a large possibility, friends, that we can create a Facebook out of it. Yes, we can create a Google out of it or a Microsoft out of it. Yes, there could be a possibility that from somebody graduating from Jamnagar or Rishikul Ayurveda or from any college of Kerala or Udupi could be considered, one of the top entrepreneur in the world based on Ayurveda. So that is what my wish is, and that is what the wish of all our Ayurvedic fraternity, so that we all can feel proud of them and we can create a lineage around our young graduates, which can take motivation and clue from all these successful people in the field of Ayurveda. So I wish you all very good luck. Thank you, Jigyasa, for organizing this knowledge session and a series of knowledge sessions. And I, as the National Secretary of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad and also the Managing Director of Bliss Ayurveda, wish you all my best wishes, and we hope we can communicate more in future. Namaste and thank you so much.